some point we got to take control of it and go play the way that I know we're capable of playing, and we're not doing that. It's like we're all waiting around, waiting on something to happen for us to get out of this funk, and it's not happening.
Trevor Lawrence is not the problem in Jacksonville. This is an opinion piece. This channel does not normally talk about sports, but I am a huge fan of this team. I have been since the beginning. I have literally spent my childhood, teenage years, and adult years going through all of the ups and downs of the Jacksonville Jaguars, enjoying the highs and enjoying the many lows that this team has experienced. The last few years, with Trevor Lawrence at the helm and Doug Peterson, the last 2 years, have actually been quite fantastic. Now, this year in many ways has been disappointing, but we're also looking at a team that is currently sitting at 8-7 and is in control of their own destiny for winning the division. So jumping off the ship right now is not exactly helpful or realistic. Now, there is reason for criticism for sure. We watch a team go from 8-3 to 8-7, and it looks bad. Trevor Lawrence is part of that. Injuries are part of that. The defense is part of that. Probably offensive coordination is part of that. There are many things going on right now that are a problem, and I'm going to say it's not Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence is out there doing basically everything he possibly can to win games, even at his own expense. See, there's this problem. When you put everything on the shoulders of a quarterback, and that quarterback is someone who's driven to win, they're competitive, they're highly physically gifted, and they've bought into what's going on in a city. Trevor Lawrence has bought into the Jaguars. He's bought into Jacksonville. He wants to build his career here. He wants to win. He wants to win for this city. He has the physical tools to do so. When we look at his career so far, it's been 3 seasons. We're in the middle of the third one right now. 2021, he played all 17 games. He threw for 3,600 yards, 58 touchdowns, and 12 interceptions for a 71.9 passer rating. There was other things going on there. That was his rookie season under Urban Meyer, who was a disaster for this team and a disaster for Trevor Lawrence's development. So in many ways, you can look at 2022 as essentially his rookie season. He had a good coach with Doug Peterson, and a team kind of built more around him. He had good weapons, and even though the team started out rough, suddenly, in the middle of the season, they started playing inspired football and made a very improbable run to win the division on the last game of the season, and then go and make one of the greatest comebacks in playoff history to beat the Chargers. Then they play the eventual Super Bowl champions, the Kansas City Chiefs, in Kansas City, and come up 1 score short of winning that game. It was very winnable, though. That season, last year, Trevor threw for 4,100 yards, 59 touchdowns, 25 interceptions, but a 95.2 passer rating. This year's been a lot more sluggish in the scoring and the touchdowns, and then there's the turnovers. Trevor Lawrence has 10 interceptions this year to 18 touchdowns. He has 3,500 yards with 2 games to go. Potentially, he could still pass his yardage numbers from last year, but we're not even close to the scoring, and the ratio is really bad. But he's at 90.5 in passer rating. Overall career, 85.5 passer rating with 11,279 yards, 65 touchdowns, but 55 interceptions, and that's not even counting the fumbles. There's been a lot of those. Now, it's easy to say, okay, interceptions, fumbles, man, a quarterback, he's got to be on those things. He's got to protect the ball and all that. But if you have watched the Jacksonville Jaguars for the last 4 games, this slide, and it hasn't been, like, maybe 2 of those games were very winnable for us. We made some key mistakes, and that's why, I think it was the Bengals game, could have been one. And then, of course, I feel like all of the games could have been won. But when you watch them, Trevor Lawrence, besides the injuries that he's been playing through, is constantly getting beat up in those games. He has pressure in his face constantly. He never has time to allow a play to develop. He never has time to make good decisions. And I know he's typically a quick passer, gets the ball in his hands very quick. But protection, making sure your quarterback can actually play quarterback, is essential. If you don't have an offensive line protecting your guy, he's going to make bad choices. He's going to constantly be under duress and potentially getting hurt. And that's what we've seen. And then you have no ground game. Travis Etienne is fantastic. Tank Bigsby is actually really good too. We have like good runners. We have a good core of talent on this team. Yes, there's been injuries. Jamal Agnew, Christian Kirk, and then on defense as well. But top teams manage to play through injuries. Top teams take advantage of the talent that's still there. We've had some really bright spots with Parker Washington and this Cooks kid Sunday night. Let me get my days right here. We've played all kinds of nights the last couple weeks. He started to look good in the first half as well. He made a couple really good catches, and then nothing after that. And Doug Peterson may be the play caller, and of course we all trust him. He's a Super Bowl winner. He's done fantastic things for Jacksonville in these couple of years. But there's a disconnect going on between offensive coordinator and the offense. They are not being put on the same page. There's so many what's being labeled as miscommunications between Trevor Lawrence, the receivers. Then you have the protection breakdown constantly. And when you're seeing these things, it's like there's a coaching problem happening here. There's a scheming problem happening here. There's good players all over this offense. And either they're not being utilized correctly, or we're not scheming correctly for them, or again, we're just not focusing on the fundamentals for them. So, and then you have the defense, and if they're not picking up on their end, they'll make a play here and there. There's bright spots. Rayshon Jenkins will have an interception or something. Josh Allen is out there, getting his sacks and all that. Wingard is actually doing well on pass defending, but we're not doing enough getting to quarterbacks. We're not doing enough taking away the big plays, because that's what keeps hurting us too. You'll watch this team get down to 3rd and 7, 3rd and 12, 3rd and 22, crazy crap like that, and then we can't stop them. We bend, but it's not a bend and don't break defense. It's a bend. Oh, we almost got them. Break. And so that kills us too. So when you get a score being run up on one side of the ball, and on the other side of the ball, your quarterback's not being protected, you can't get a ground game going, nobody respects the run, and now it all goes on the shoulders of the quarterback. And then when the quarterback now has to take the hits, he has to make these decisions, his guys are on the wrong page, and then he's also having to go out there and make run plays. And I appreciate that. I love that about Trevor Lawrence, that he wants to win, and he's going to try and make the play to win, but you can see it where he feels like it's all on him. And I don't think that should be the case for a third-year quarterback who's really playing his second true year, who is as talented and physically gifted as Trevor Lawrence is, and humble and professional. And you're putting everything on him. This is a professional football team. These guys make hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars. They get sponsorships, all these different things that are going on. And you're telling me these guys can't all get it together around this guy. There's too much talent out there. So I'm kind of this point where, like, last year was great, right? This year looked great at the start. But this slide we're having, and it's like I said, it's not just we came up just short. It's we look terrible. The Jacksonville Jaguars look like they shouldn't even be playing in the NFL, and somehow they have 8 wins. Like, it's sad, but at this moment, I question whether or not we'll beat the Carolina Panthers, a 2-win team who can't get people in their seats. I question whether or not we'll beat that team next week, which is sad because it should be automatic. Playing Tennessee, who is eliminated from the playoffs, last in the division, a division rival that we are better than. You question whether or not they'll win that game. Right now, for this team to have like a real turnaround where they look like they're ready to go in the playoffs and make any kind of a run, because just going into the playoffs and losing, I don't think that's going to cut it right now. Not with the way that the second half of the season has turned out. If this season had been rolling along really good and we got into the playoffs and we had like a close loss in the first round, okay, I think it might be more acceptable. Even then, with the way we won last year, this team should be better. This team should be more hungry to go back and get those wins. So with the way it's going now, I, as a lifelong Jaguars fan who have been through all these ups and downs, I'm looking at Trevor Lawrence, and I see a guy who's way too good to be in this position where he's getting hurt every week. So his entire future career is being jeopardized just because of that. He's getting hurt every week. He's having everything put on his shoulders. Every critique, there's so many crazy comments about this guy out there as if this is his fault and that it needs to be laid on him and that he really doesn't even deserve to be in this league at this point, which is just insane to me. If you actually pay attention to him and his career, if you actually pay attention to what's going on for real with the Jaguars, Trevor Lawrence is not what's wrong with the Jaguars. The Jaguars are what's wrong with them and are what's wrong with Trevor Lawrence. So if there is not a really crazy turnaround and this team doesn't go on and have some kind of success in the playoffs, and this trend right now continues, I would not hold it against Trevor Lawrence if he sought a way off this team. I mean, I would embrace that because he's one of those people where you're like, no, this guy should be out there winning. This guy should be out there breaking records and having all this success. Not getting beat the hell up every single week. Like any one of these games, the injuries he had could have been season-ending or career-ending. And that's not on him. So that's where I stand right now when it comes to the Jacksonville Jaguars. I love this team. I will always root for them. I will be watching them till I am done. But when it comes to a talent like this, a character like this, I don't want to see them ruined by the Jacksonville Jaguars.
We're playing our worst. So we need to find answers. We got to find answers quick. We got 2 weeks to figure it out. So.